Hi, everyone. My name is Tato Angelina Habaiti. I'm the team coordinator and partner outreach of We the World and chairperson of We the World Botswana chapter. Today, we are on the day 4 of the 11 days of global unity, and the theme is economic justice. On today's panel conversation, we'll be discussing conservation and protection of the ecosystem.
Hi. Good afternoon, team. I hope you're able to hear.
Yes, you're audible. Thank you. So I will give over the mic to the panelists. We will start with Caroline to briefly introduce yourself and where you are.
Hello, everyone. My name is Karen Stefan, an activist from Uganda and a member of Rise Up movement. I advocate for wildlife and biodiversity. Thank you.
Thank you. Over to you, Dorcas. Please introduce yourself, where you are and what you do.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Dorcas Wakio. I'm from Kenya. Okay. I'm a climate activist here in Kenya and also a member of Rise Up Movement Kenya and also Friday for Future Kenya. And I'm also passionate about environment, conservation and protection of ecosystems. I'm also a marine student and also a future scientist in marine ecosystems. And also, yeah, everything to do with the environment. That's what I love doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Over to you, Immaculate. You are still muted, Immaculate. Please introduce yourself and let us know where you are and what you do.
Hi everyone. A good evening to you all. I'm so sorry I had to look for another location because actually it's going to rain here. So I'm trying to set myself. But meanwhile, I can introduce myself. My name is Ngavo Sad. A climate change activist from Uganda. And I'm a young person living with disability. And I work with the Rise Up movement of Uganda. Nice meeting you all. I hope to learn more and discuss more. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sumaya, and if Immaculate is able to connect, then she'll go next.
Hi everyone, my name is Sumaya and I'm a climate activist from the city of Mombasa in Kenya. And I run a small CBO, community-based organization called Blue Earth Organization, whose main aims are main aim is community empowerment, climate education, and our main project is focusing on mangrove restoration. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Immaculate?
Yes, please.
Yes, please introduce yourself, where you are and what you do.
Hi, my name is Immaculate Achamize. I'm a climate justice activist from Uganda under the Rise Up movement. I'm glad to be part of this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On today's conversation, really, it's to unpack climate justice, and to have a chat about the reforms and solutions that nations can determine to decarbonize, conserve, and protect their ecosystems. As we know, under the economic justice, we have the SDGs that cover ending poverty, fulfilling basic needs, that is food, water, and shelter, and having socially conscious businesses and investments, conducting global financial reforms, promoting fair trade and other labor practices, as well as reducing economic inequalities and ending economic injustice. But we see a lot of these SDGs not being fulfilled, especially for the global south. And in this day and age, in the 21st century, and we still have people who don't have access to clean water, access to food. I mean, their food security is questionable, and they don't have access to shelter, as we see the floods taking away their homes, the economic inequalities continuing to have a huge disparity between the income sectors, for lack of a better word. So in your own words, what are the reforms that you would advocate for in your own individual communities or nations to improve the livelihoods of your people in your community? Caroline.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, Thanu, given to me. I think in my community, there are very many poor people who don't have where to stay. Like, for example, I was born and raised in a slum area in a part of Kampala district, where where our house was next to a major trench, and it was a swamp area where whenever it would rain, people would get worried because of floods. I think the nations or governments should try to to create better, as in create better living spaces for people, and in pardon me, create better living spaces for people. For example, those in slums should be built clear, and they should be the trenches in those swamp areas. I think they should be cleaned and rubbish all plastics, because it's a major problem as to why water doesn't move to cause flooding. So I think they should encourage, for example, in my country, we have an organization called Kampala Capital City Authority, which is supposed to be cleaning as in removing rubbish from around all of Kampala. So those organizations should be encouraged to do their work at their best, to clean the trenches, to build bigger trenches, to help these people who don't have where to stay, live where they live with safety, without problems of losing their property, losing their lives in the process of the floodings. Do you know that some of these people live not under even brick houses? They live under iron sheets, wood, like that, because they have nowhere to go. They have nowhere to be. And the government, the nation mostly of the government, are not doing their best to provide these people with employment opportunities, or they just in my country, most of the poor people in these areas where there are floodings, they are the ones who own small businesses on streets, and they are the ones who don't have proper places where they work from. So we find these organizations sending them away. They can't collect money to build better houses in better places. So the government should support these people, create for them where to work from, and collect some money to build in better places and live these and clean the environment, remove plastics, because plastics are the major problems we have here in my local in my local community. Because for example, recently I heard from news that the companies which produce plastics, for example, polythene bags, cups, whatsoever, they removed the taxes which were charged on them, meaning they will be sold freely with ease. So the plastics are the major problems we have. If the government also restricts that production of plastics, I think we will be better to go and help these people to live a better life. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. That is such an insightful um, push for reform. Dorcas, please share with us the reforms that you would like to see happening to improve the livelihoods of the people in your community. Okay, Ngabo.
Um, Good evening once again. I hope you're all still able to hear me. This is Abo once again. And as a person who fights for disability inclusion, as a person who has disability, and as a person who is categorized under the um, most affected people and populations, I believe that the first response or the first key thing that we should think about is making climate response as disability inclusive as possible, because you realize that in most of the programming that is done, most people with disabilities are left out. So um, this poses a challenge. And to further note that it has already been a debate of whether it is fossil fuels that will cause development to our countries. It has already brought arguments as African governments, as communities say that we really need fossil fuels for our development. But to me, I say that the way forward should be renewable energy. We should focus on making sure that renewable energy is accessible to all people, and the only way we can do this, or the only way we can make this possible, is to ask government to invest more in renewable energy. We realize that in my area in an area that I come from, is in the central part of Uganda. We realize that most of these people are not able to access electricity, and due to this, um, there is little to no development. And you first realize that most of these people, or most of the people in the rural communities, use fire as their main source of energy, as a way of maybe trying to make food, or as a way of trying to put something on the table for their family. And we realize that this has also uh, contributed a lot to the to the carbon emissions that happen, we realize that people are falling sick in their families because of that smoke that comes from overusing of firewood. So basically, we need to make renewable energy as accessible as possible to everyone, and to make it cheaper. And realize it is also a cheaper alternative compared to fossil fuels, and it can be accessed by everyone. For example, solar, for example, hydropower. So, and the other policy that we would focus on, because we realize that the biggest reasons why governments choose to invest in fossil fuels or to invest in fossil fuel industries is because they are looking for a way of funding their budget as a way of looking for more extra taxation. And for us as climate change activists, we are saying that we also have other alternatives. For instance, when you look at the tourism industry, though the tourism industry has been affected by COVID-19, you realize that when the government focuses on investing in the tourism industry, they will be able to get more taxes that they can use to invest and develop our communities, to develop our people. So I think all of this comes down to policies. We have policies that are able to mitigate the climate crisis. We have policies that are able to answer the climate crisis question, because we realize that we have really felt the impact of loss and damage when it comes to the climate crisis. And because a few months back, we had in one of the parts of eastern Uganda, we had people face floods, and a lot of people lost property, a lot of people lost lives. And so I think those are some of the things that government should do to really protect our ecosystems and also change our communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Wow. So who is next? Sumaya?
Hi, sorry, I was logged out. I had some network issue. Please, if you could repeat the question.
We're talking about the reforms that we would like to see in our communities, talking about economic justice and climate justice.
Okay. All right. Climate justice means different things to different people. And I personally working at the being on the front lines, working with communities, and witnessing how they have been affected, the people and the biodiversity that has been affected when they have contributed the least towards the climate crisis is not fair. It's very distressing when you see that. And for me, climate justice comes down to the very basics. From the work I've been doing, what I've experienced, climate justice means fishermen from my community can feed their families and have a decent life without having to worry about the bleached corals. Climate justice means we don't have to live in fear of the drastic weather patterns like floods and the heat waves that kill our livestock and destroy our homes. Climate justice means girls not missing school for working long hours to fetch water and getting into early marriages. So these people who are being affected the most are the ones who are the least who are contributing the least towards this crisis, and it's not fair on them. So the governments, the leaders should look into it in the sense that we have to take action. We have to take action, and like switching to renewables, geothermal, there's solar, there's a water, hydropower, biomass. So it's very important for the leaders. Okay, in my country, I am going to say that the fossils, it's like just 0.1% contributor of the GHG emissions, and it is using a lot of solar energy and geothermal. I think geothermal is one of the main source of energy for electricity and all. But here is where injustice comes. The land where the geothermal energy comes from, it's mostly owned by the indigenous communities, and then there have been cases that they have been removed from, the land is grabbed from them for this energy. And so this is not supposed to happen, because they are the custodians of the place, so they should be taken care of. And then also to conserve nature, that is also very important, because nature, the forests especially, they protect us from droughts, from floods, the coastlines, the heat waves. So it's very, very important to take care and protect our ecosystems, the nature. Yeah, because the rate at which deforestation is taking place, it's not good at all. And the ecosystems, are rich in carbon, and there are these ecosystems that are rich in carbon and biodiversity that exist, and they have to be protected. Yeah, so that's my point.
Thank you very much. Christabel, can you please share with us the reforms that you would like to see in your community, and also briefly introduce yourself? Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Christabel. I'm a climate activist from Kenya. I'm also working with wetland restoration organization. Yes. So my point of concern was about the CO2 emissions. So with the current ongoing industrialization, it's a little bit hard to like kill the companies. So what my organization is working on, we are restoring wetlands. So the current ones that are there, we are protecting them. And then so our aim is to make them, to increase their, okay, so the point mainly is, in as much as we are planting trees, the seagrass have a bigger impact on absorbing the carbon more than the trees. So the fact that they're more efficient is encouraging us to invest more in it, as it's a very promising project. Yes.
Thank you very much, Christabel, and welcome to today's conversation. We will head on to Immaculate.
Okay. Thank you everyone for their contributions. That was insightful. Yeah, in my country, Uganda, the major activity done by most people is agriculture. And most of these people are in the villages. They don't know what is really taking place. They know what is not happening around. So as we try to advocate for the climate justice and the reforms we need, I think our government should do more in sensitizing these people in the villages, let them know what is really on the ground. And us as the climate activists justice, we should make sure these people know what is really taking place, that climate change is real, and they should reduce on tilling the land. We should tell them and educate them on using the natural fertilizers, pest control methods. We should teach them what they should do. The government should invest in this, and this is going to reduce the carbon stores in the soils, and the soils are going to be more fertile, and they will get what to eat.
We shall advocate and address the food insecurity that is taking place. We cannot just sit around and see people going on hungry, they're dying of hunger, and it's just normal. I think the government should also invest in education. Like every child has a right to education. Because if these kids go to school and they learn what is really happening, they will know how to advocate for all these things. They will know that climate change is real. Education is another major in advocating for the transmission segregation taking place. People are benefiting and the rest are suffering, which is not good at all. Also, we need to conserve the water. Like conserve water, less is going to be wasted and less is going to go to the oceans and all that, and we are going to conserve the ecosystems. Then also, I think if you use something and can be recycled, the government should also things that are used, and also people should think of reusing. For example, you bought a water bottle and buy what is necessary, yeah, and then reuse the bottle for something else. Yeah, then if possible, take it to the recycling areas for recycling. Yeah, I think that is it. And when you're doing all that and the government is supportive, they should really act, not just promising. Yeah, we can reduce the carbon emissions and address all this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We will head over to Dorcas.
Hello, sorry. Can you all hear me? I'm having some network issues. Am I even loud?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. Okay, for myself on my side, I prepared small notes and also I did research on the conservation and protection of ecosystems. So we have various ecosystems and they need to be protected and conserved by all human beings because we are part and parcel of these ecosystems. So I have studied about the marine ecosystems myself as a course and have come to understand the benefits that comes with these ecosystems. So some of the ecosystems we have they are home for many species. We have the oceans, we have the lakes, we have the rivers. So these water bodies have been home for many species and they need to be protected from the human overexploitation, consumption, because of the increasing population we have experiencing, especially in our country, a lot of population increase, leading to more demand and over dependence over limited resources. So you find that these ecosystems as well, they help in air sequestration. For example, you have the mangroves and the trees. These forests are very important to our ecosystem. We need them, we need to protect them. We need to fight for them because we have been having a lot of deforestation happening in my area from Kwale. So there's a lot of deforestation happening. So right now we are asking and we are working with the government, Kenya Forest Service. I'm working with them actually in coming up with initiatives involving the community and the youth on the importance of why we need to protect these ecosystems. Because when we have hot days in Kenya, the place is hot, like it's unbearable. Even at night, you just feel like you just want to go and sleep outside because the temperatures are getting worse by day. Global warming, climate change, and some of these activities we are doing is because of our actions. So human activities has really been destroying. We have been due to the over independence of these resources we have, it has led to decline. For example, in terms of our forests, you have seen Amazon forest. People are cutting down the forest, and one of the biggest forests in the world that helps in carbon, taking in of carbon and releasing oxygen. So the moment we alter with this ecosystem, it will obviously affect our lives as well, and also the food chains and everything, and also even affect even our air we are breathing, causing global warming and hot temperatures, melting of ice, and so on. So what we need to do to prevent all these skills from happening? So we need to adapt from, okay, what I would advise my government to do is they need to work on the 3 R's. They reduce, reuse, and recycle. If we use this even in our homes, ourselves, because change begins with us. It begins with you. So what I would say is that the government needs to implement these 3 R and make sure they are working in every corporation, businesses, because when we reduce our carbon footprint and reduce our emissions, we are going to reduce the climate change impacts affecting our country. Kenya, we are facing a lot of droughts in some parts, and also some of our rivers have dried. We have seen children, the women, the young girls, they are being forced to walk from their homes to long distances in search for water and food because of climate change and what has led to them our environment degraded. So we need to adapt the 3 R's even in our homes. Like we need to recycle what we have. We need to have these, like the way our sisters have said, we need to have these recyclable things, bottles. When you're going to these meetings or conferences, we can see people now trying to invent these the glass bottles. You can use water, you can recycle it and use it at the same time. So we need to I would advise us to personally, we need to volunteer ourselves. Let's have these campaigns. Let's go out, let's do cleanups in the community. Let's educate them on the importance of protecting our ecosystems, because not educating people, especially the community, they will not even understand what you're doing. But come here with your campaign, people are like, what are you doing? So we need to first educate them, tell them, we have this ocean. We don't have to go to the ocean and fish every fish, the juveniles and even the grown-up fish. So like we need to keep our food chain working. We need to protect. We need to stop over exploitation of our resources. So we need to educate people from the grassroots levels. So what else we can do? The government can do is renewable energy. The government needs to support the young activists who are fighting every day. Some of us have missed school because of the strikes. Because we want the leaders to hear us and take us seriously, because they are messing with our future, and we cannot stand here. We cannot sit down. And now that we know what's happening, now that we are more intelligent, we have learned, we have actually been in that position whereby we are lacking water, we are lacking clean water for food to drink. So we know what's happening. And them in the government are just eating our money, eating our taxes, increasing taxes. In the end, the person below is just going through the worst cases scenario possible. So they need to support the renewable energy sources, such as the solar energy panels. They need to, give them for free. Because I know they can afford. These governments are very rich, so they need to give us those solar panels. And then what we can minimize the use of electricity and all those non-renewable sources. Also, we need to plant trees and also plants, and not only plants, but grow trees. So, uh, like we need to plant and grow trees. Sorry, I mean, I'm in the business, so people are still talking to me. So I'm sorry. So we need to plant and grow trees. You know, we have this tendency of having these campaigns whereby we say, "Oh, guys, come, let's go and plant 1,000,000 trees." Then after two to 3 months, no one shows up to go and see what happened to the trees we planted. I'm so happy that an example, we planted, I guess, 500,000 mangroves in, I guess, 1 week in Gazi, in Kenya. And today we have sent one of our friends to go and check them. And they're doing very well. I was even shocked. People was like saying, "Oh, you've planted the wrong side," but we knew that's the best place to do reforestation. And now they're doing well, they're healthy. So we need to go back and see. We need to plant and grow trees, because there's no way you plant a tree today, then tomorrow it has dried up. What will be the essence of it helping us combat climate change? We'll be doing zero. I want to be complaining and complaining, but there's something we haven't done well. So we should put account that we should grow and plant trees, and also environmental friendly products. You know, then the most vital thing is using our platforms. Some of us, I know here, I see you guys, some of us, the activists, I see them in Twitter, IG, Facebook, showcasing and protesting and telling people, informing people about the climate change and what's happening, what we need to do, the solutions and all that. So we need to use those platforms to raise awareness to people all over the globe, for them to understand the importance of protecting our ecosystems and preserving them. So if you understand this, the importance of these ecosystems and the biodiversity, we are going to help ourselves as well, and keep our mother nature healthy. Yes, we need to also we only have one planet as a complete, which we live in. So we need to be mindful of our daily actions, because no matter how busy we are, is fair that the small efforts we do today, and I'm very sure the baby steps of helping our countries and helping or fighting for these climate justice, every small action counts. So we should not give up in fighting for our climate and demanding climate justice. Yeah, because every small step leads to a major progress. So we need to protect our ecosystems. Yes, and I think we'll be fine and protect our forests. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I even got goosebumps. You shared quite a lot, and I know how being an activist is exhausting. And I admire your strength. I admire your tenacity and energy to still push forward and still do the good work. How can we make activism or doing the right thing more fashionable, especially for youth? You know that we have a culture, and as there's a UN-sponsored effort tool that has analyzed the impact of human actions on ecosystems and human well-being, and it identified 4 major categories of the ecosystem services. One is provisioning, 2 is regulating, 3 is cultural, 4 is supporting services. In as much as we can have these supporting services and push for the government to have regulating mechanisms and tools in place, we will still be lacking that cultural aspect. And as we know that a lot of youth now are after lifestyle and they're not so worried about things and topics like climate change, GBV, early child marriage, and all these social ills that we're faced with.
Here for your damn
How
son.
can we make this work? Is it more fashionable, or how can we get youth to work on these issues more?
Hello.
Caroline. Yes.
Yeah. First of all, in order to involve the youth, we have to educate these youths and tell them what's currently happening, tell them what it means by climate change and how it's going to affect them personally, as in their livelihoods, their education, their everyday life, their income, how it's going to affect them in the future. That's how
Yes.
we shall get to involve the youths, by educating them first of all. You tell them that if climate change is taking place, that's why your parent want there are seasons like in our countries where we majorly depend on agriculture. The parents of those youths will grow crops and they die out because of the drought, or they are washed away by the floods, or they are destroyed due to the changing seasons caused by climate change. So we explain to those youths that if the crops of your parents die just because of climate change, you are not, the youths are not going to turn out good, and you're not going to school just because of climate change. You are going to get dirty water just because of climate change, due to the floodings and whatsoever. For example, those youths in the eastern region of Uganda are now facing the impacts of the landslides. Just their schools were destroyed, they have no food, they have no clean water. So if you explain to them what caused that, I think we shall be good to go and involve the youths in the fight for the climate change. We should also inform them how best we can get relieved of this challenge or reduce the impacts of climate change. Like, for example, you tell them that if you see people in your local community cutting down trees or building in swamps or anything that destroys the ecosystem, for example, the swamps, the forests, marine water, lakes, those things that absorb carbon or reduce global warming. So if their elders or parents are doing so, like some of the youths, their fathers are plumbers, as in, no, sorry, not plumbers. They cut down trees to burn charcoal for money. So if you educate these youths that if your father does this, cut down a tree, more carbon dioxide will accumulate, causing global warming, accelerating climate change. So you'll get this and this impact. That's when we shall get the youth to get involved, to go back in their local communities, to go back to their parents, to go back to other people in the communities, tell them, you know what, this what you're doing is causing more damage than good. Fine, we shall get money, but in the future, we are going to live the worst of all the days we have been. So to get the youth involved, education is the best option to go with. Educating the youth, telling them what's currently happening on ground, educating the youth of how to use correct or organic fertilizers in the farms of their parents or their farms, educating the youth that there are other options or there are other sources of energy other than fossil fuels. Like for us, we grew up knowing only firewood cooks food or charcoal we only knew that it's only paraffin that is used to light the house, as in to light the house. So if we educate this youth that there are other sources of energy like solar, like thermal energy, like hydroelectricity, they will understand and educate their parents, because we can't go all these youths, all these other people go back to their communities and tell them what new things they have learned, or new advice, ideas on the table. So if we educate these youths about things, they'll go and develop their own local communities, and that will be best for our climate, and that will reduce the climate change. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ngabo wanted to share. Okay, Christabel, over to you.
Yes.
Hi again. So I will put a
Christabel,
strong
then Ngabo. Yes.
emphasis. Sorry?
Christabel, then Ngabo.
Okay. So my point is I will put a strong emphasis on awareness, because you can't work on something if you don't have knowledge of it. So we should really invest in teaching this youth on what climate change is. For some, it's still a very foreign topic. It's something that is happening far and not within their own lives. So we should make them understand it's affecting their lives, and they should also work on it. Then, after you've made them aware of it, you should now teach them what they should do to help it not be a crisis anymore. Like, you should teach them, you should make it more practical in their lives. Simple things like using a reusable bottle, planting trees, and then with that small small seed that you grow with one person, it will germinate and it will become a huge movement, because that one person may inspire another and another, and that way we create a whole army of activists, of people who are climate enthusiasts, and it will be a more effective way to manage our goals of making the earth greener. Yeah.
Wow, thank you. Over to you, Ngabo.
Yes. I believe that you can still hear me. I so much believe in the power of habits, and as a teacher, I'm a teacher of language, and I'm glad that um, the current curriculum that we are currently adopting um, talks about climate change. It has something to do with pollution and how we can be an answer to pollution and all that. So I believe the way to take, as all the other activists are saying, is first of all education, because when you have that information, it empowers you to do something. It empowers you to make sure that you are able to act and protect the environment, because you all know we have one planet, and once we teach the younger generation that we have one planet, I believe we can be able to cause change. And to realize that a lot of youth these days use a lot of social media. They use a lot of media, and media means things like television, things like YouTube. So I believe that we should create content, or we should create climate education that is that that is eye catching to give you. For example, if you use like animation, if you put it in form of drama, if you put it, it has to be something fun, but educative. It has to be something that is eye catching, and yes, and I believe that when we do that, when we do good things, when we do build a generation that is more of a solution, but not a problem, we will be able to answer the problem of the climate crisis and protect our ecosystem. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Over to you, Dr.
Okay, so I support the education part because obviously I also when I was growing up I knew nothing about environment. I didn't even have an idea of what environment is and why. Am I seeing a lot of trees? So there's also the practical actions. Yes, like what my sister has said, like the tree planting, going out there and doing, walking the talk. So what I would like to add on is also like for the youth in activism, we need motivation, we need to be motivated. For example, why I'm saying this because sometimes I myself when I'm doing this activity, sometimes I get tired, I get worn out. I'm like, God, what am I even doing? Like I need someone to like saying, yes, you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing. Continue with the same, the same spirit and all that. So we need to be motivated. Like when you have these conferences, seminars, these campaigns, these protests, like the way like now we're almost having the climate strike global one on September of 23rd and 24th. So like that's now is going to push a lot of youths now. It's going to motivate them and they're going to come out in large numbers and protest and say what we need to say to the government and tell them what they need to do and what's really tell them what's affecting us and what they will do for them to save us. So we need to be motivated. We need to have this government, if our government would listen to us actually, like they listen to us and say, yes, these people are saying this way, our country is draining, our oceans are depleted, our rivers have dried. We need to listen to these young activists, and that's going to motivate us, when we have a good relationship with the government, like we talk one-on-one, to give us even more morale in doing what we're doing. So education, practicals, and motivation, yeah, they're going to build more youth activism in our world and even in Kenya. Because you have a lot of activists I know personally, and now they give up because they're like, nothing is happening. They're just here, no one is listening to them, no action has been taken by the government. So when we have, at least when the government can just listen, listen to us, give us an ear, that will really have an impact in most of these climate issues. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think one of the things that stood out for me is stakeholder engagement, and mentorship. It's very important to have someone walk by your side and support you, because there are times, and there are very hard times and you don't even feel like you feel like giving up. You don't even feel like pushing forward. Sumaya, then Immaculate. Then we'll be
Okay,
wrapping up our session.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I agree with everyone we've said about climate education. That is number one. That I also said it in my previous session that it should be, climate change should be added in the school curriculum so that the children realize the importance of conserving our environment, about recycling or ditching single use, of going green and all that. I personally, when I started my project, the mangrove restoration project, I had just gone to volunteer with along with my two friends. We had gone as volunteers for a mangrove planting event. That was the first time, and that we were introduced to that by the Kenya Forestry. So after that, we really enjoyed. I mean, the mud and the experience was just on another level. So we wanted to do again. We wanted to do it again. And there was another event, luckily. And when we went there to that site, we were advised by the Kenya Forestry that we can adopt a site under our organization so that it can motivate us to do more. Like a hectare can hold to maybe 10,000 seedlings or so. So yeah, we were advised to do that. And yeah, we just agreed to it immediately. And we started off with very few, and then with the pictures we posted to create awareness and the write-ups, the posts and all that, we started getting feedback. And the youngsters were really interested in knowing what is there, like, how do you like feel it over there, and they see the videos of how muddy it is. And yeah, like right now we literally get 20 to 30 volunteers, young volunteers. We take them there, and in fact we even taken the high school children, and they really, really enjoy it. So we make it fun for them. At the same time, we explain to them the importance of that. We know mangroves absorb 4 to 5 times more carbon than the tropical forests, and they have so many more like qualities. They protect the coastal lines, and every other time, they keep on approaching and asking us, when are you going for the next mangrove planting? We want to come. So yeah, and we celebrate them, so it really motivates them. And also I have been reading a bigger picture by Vanessa, and the way she said that how she started off alone with just some cousins of hers, and it really turned into a big organization like Rise Up Movement. So yeah, keep on having to we have to explain to them, although it does get harder at times. You feel like giving up. I've also felt like giving up at times, but no, this fight has to go on. Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing your true love, love at first sight story. Over to you, Immaculate.
All right, thank you. I've changed position. I don't know if I'm even visible. Yeah, thank you everyone for your contributions. Personally, I think we as activists, it starts with us. How can we make this fashionable? How can we make the fellow youth come along and fight with us? Yeah, I think we need to tell them what we do, not just on social media, but do people around us know what we actually do? Does anyone in your home even know you do activism? Does anyone at your workplace even know you do activism without them getting on phone, on social media? Do we talk about it to our friends? Like, we need to tell them what is on ground, what we do and why we do it, so that they can come along. And then for the motivation, yes, we need the motivation. And I think we sometimes need to motivate ourselves and act up and start and keep doing this. Then we also need the support. Government, we still call upon you, need to support us. We can't do this alone. We need the support. And like everyone said, we need this to be entered in the curriculum. When these kids start knowing what is really taking place on the ground at a very tender age, it's going to help us a lot. Personally, I got to know these things when it was really too late, like when I was old. I really didn't know what was really taking place. I thought it was a normal thing, but we really need to take this on ground. We need to tell our fellow youth what is happening, and it's really tiring, and sometimes you feel like giving up, but we need to give up. We need to keep doing this, and one day it will yield fruit. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. We're wrapping up today's session, and we're getting to I think maybe it's my own personal favorite, the magic call. If you had the opportunity to call anybody right now and give them an instruction, who would that be, and what would you call them to do? In no particular order. I think we can start with Caroline. I see your mic is already on.
If I'm given an opportunity right now to make a call to somebody, it will be our governments. And I would tell them that we need to be heard. They need to act on what on our requests. Like we tell them that deforestation is bad, but deforestation is causing climate change. Deforestation is increasing global warming, and they are not listening. Trees are still being cut down. Forests are still being cut down. So what I advocate for is we want us to be listened to. We want to see actions taking place that we talked about. No building in swamps. It's bad. It's causing this and this. Then at the end of the day, you see more companies being built in swamps. That's very discouraging, and I would call for the government to hear what we are saying, to act on what we are advocating for, to act on what we are fighting for. And the other thing that we need support and finance, because it's for us youth, in most cases, we don't have that much income earning businesses or what, but if we have support, it will help us continue doing our work. If we have some finance, it will continue, we shall continue growing stronger and getting other people joining us, so that we continue to advocate for this climate climate change, fight climate change. We inform people. I can't like I can't use my transport as in money, or I finance myself to very far places to educate those people in very far areas like that, like very far, as in at some point I'll get tired or I'll run out of income. So if I have support, I'll be doing that with passion, as in I'll be encouraged more. So if money is not a problem, we need financial support and we need to be heard. They should act on what we are telling them, because it's real. We are not lying, and they're also seeing it. So they should act on what we are telling them. Plastics are bad, but they are still reducing taxes on plastics so that production continues. We tell them it pollutes the environment, but the production is still going on. That's what I'll tell them, that please hear what we are saying, hear our call, answer our calls. Please don't ignore, listen to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
As we conclude,
Okay.
the one call that I'd love to make, sorry, I had forgotten to turn on my video. Yes. So the one stakeholder that I would love to call on to is all stakeholders that are involved in the fossil fuel industry, in the fossil fuel corporations. We want to tell to them that their activities are suffocating us, their activities are really activities are really affecting populations, and we would love to call it to stop, and to tell them to stop, and to also remind our world leaders that as we head for COP27, which is in a few months, we want to see the youth put at the forefront, and to also see climate finance given a special consideration in order to mitigate the loss and damage that has been faced, most especially by African countries who contribute to the least emissions. And to also call on to the youth, to call on to the youth, to call on to everyone to continue being strong, and to also call on to my fellow persons with disabilities that we need to join this movement. We need to rise up and fight for our rights. We need to rise up and protect our environment, because without us, without our energy, the planet will go into extinction. So I rest my case. Thank you so much, and bless you all.
Thank you very much. Over to you, Sumaya, then Immaculate.
Okay, mine is the same message, doesn't change. Enough is enough. We have the solutions, let's implement them. We have the knowledge, let's use it. And we have nature, let's restore her. And COP27 cannot happen without African activists. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Immaculate.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, my call is the same. We need climate finance. It's not just aid and charity. This is justice. We need climate finance. We also need a change in the system, not the planet. Yes, we need the government to not just finance, but we need the government to take up ecological restoration, to shift from the mode of production, consumption, and distribution of services. Like everyone has said, we need African activists on COP. Very many of us don't even have the COP badges yet. And then what are we activating for? We need all of this, we need the support. How are they going to know our issues if we don't attend and raise them? So we need the finance, we need all this, we need these activists attend and raise the voices, and we need their voices amplified. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Over to you, Dorcas, then Christabel.
Yes, sir. The question was about the call, the one call I should make to someone. Or what was the question? Please pardon.
Yes, the magic call.
Okay. So yeah, I'll first call my president. He's just new, so he's still fresh. So if it was possible, I would ask him to have a tour with me to every part of this country where I have seen people die. I would like for him to see it, eyes to eyes, and tell him this is what's happening. The government, you have been having this budgets for these people, but look, nothing has happened. Like, no action has taken place. So like, we start from there. We start now having action. If it's water, clean water, start now having like boreholes. Like in northern parts of Kenya, there's no water. So like, we need to start now by drilling boreholes and having water accessible to people. We need to have more books, climate books, and also the education funds of curriculum of climate change to every school in Kenya, and also with him we meet with all fossil fuel, pioneers, the ones who have been making our country hectic and chaotic in our temperatures and everything. We meet with them and we tell them that what they're doing to us is not good and they need to stop it. Yeah, they need just to stop it and shut down every fossil fuels and burn them to the ground. Yes, and also support every climate related initiative, We need, like the way our sister has said, the climate finance, We need that money to be able to uh what do you say? I was speaking in Kiswahili, so we need to have this climate finance to help the least people who have contributed to the climate change to bring them back to where they were, Yeah. So my first call be to the president, then we talk, and then we can, I guess, like I need like months because I have a long list of what we need to do when it comes to climate change and climate justice. Yes.
Yes, of course. Thank you very much. Over
Thank
to you,
you.
Christabel. Thank you.
Hi. So I was a little torn on which particular leader to call. So I ended up choosing the UN General Secretary because I believe his authority, he has such immense power to influence so many countries that if he says, let's do this and not this, I believe the whole world will listen to him. So I will call on him to be accountable, to you know, when he got into that role, I'm sure he knew what he wants to impact on the world. And I'm sure he'll also want to have a good legacy and to also cause a good change in the world. So I will call on to him to be a great leader, to serve his people. And although there are many aspects to serve in the world, he should, because his role is to fight for human rights, and that applies in every aspect. Focusing on climate, he needs to make the world conducive for everyone. So I believe he'll be the right person for me to call, and I will call on him to play on the roles effectively, because it's a long list of words that we will tell him that he will get the chance, we'll work on it. But for now, I'll just call on him to be an accountable leader and to work to him down. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Such big, wonderful words and calling for major, major action. As we can see, our audience, our youth is now standing up, rising up for their future. And I believe they're not going to stop at anything until they get what is rightfully theirs. And it's a good evening in Africa. I believe it's good morning in some parts of the world and probably a good night to some people. That what we've come to the end of our session today, and I just wanted to thank you for your time. To the panelists, thank you very much for your efforts. Thank you very much for your sacrifices. It's hard, I know. You don't always feel at your best, but you keep getting at it. And I want to applaud you for your time, your energy, your tears, and your laughter, and continue sharing your success stories and motivating others. I'm greatly inspired and motivated to have been on this call with you all and to be learning about your individual communities and stories to tell. So that will be all from us today, and goodbye.